Quick info about me. I'm European. I grew up in Vienna, Austria, but I'm actually half Czech. My father was the Austrian one, and my mom, right here, she was from Czech Republic. Now, I did not go vegan because I needed to lose weight or I had some crazy major diseases or illnesses. No, nothing like that. So with me, it was a really slow process. I didn't go vegan overnight. I wish I did, but I didn't. I should have. But there's a lot of things I didn't know when I was, especially in Austria, because in Austria, I grew up in a different time, and there was no YouTube, there was no internet even yet, so I never ran into any other vegans, not even vegetarians. I didn't even know what the difference was between vegetarian and vegan. I had no idea. I was like clueless, when I was in my teenage years. I was clueless about this stuff. Even though health was always one of my passions, I did always read books about health, and every time I went to the bookstore, I always looked for either self-improvement books, like books for the mind, or books for health all the time. But I don't remember ever seeing a single book about veganism or vegetarianism, like ever. But the biggest factor why I became vegan was I was always in love with animals. I was always more interested in hanging out with animals than other people. So I always felt like very close to animals because, I don't know, to me they're like the nicer people than humans, like you have a few bad experience with a few kids and you're like, I don't want to play with kids, I want to play with animals. They don't cause trouble, they're much nicer and sweeter and they're more fun and everything, so why should I hang out with kids, if I can hang out with animals, it's so much better. Yeah, whenever I would see things on TV like bullfighting, for example, I would get so angry. I would want to kill the bullfighters. And every time I see the bull winning a little bit, I mean, the bull never wins. He always gonna gets killed, gets murdered. But every time there was sometimes when the bull would actually get the matador, and I would be so happy. I'm like, yeah, and I'd be like ecstatic because, he's getting his revenge and stuff. And so before I say anything else, I just want to lay out the few health issues that I did have before I became vegan. For example, especially when I was very young, I had really bad constipation. And when I say bad, I mean bad. I didn't go poop for days. It was really bad. It was horrible. And then the other thing is my period. Once I started having my period, it wasn't a pleasant experience like it is now. It's so much I don't even notice it now. It's there for 3 days and it's gone and it's perfectly on time all the time. Before, it was kind of, all over the place, and it's just, you could tell there was something going on with my hormones. And now my hormones are always in perfect condition or in perfect level. So now when I do have my period, I don't feel anything. There's zero cramps. There's zero symptoms of any kind. Like I said, I don't even feel anything. It's I don't even know that it's going on. It's perfect. And one of other thing that was driving me crazy was migraine headaches. I did get migraine headaches on a regular basis, and the bad kind where you have to lay down and be in a dark room and just be hidden away. It was not good. It was pretty horrible. And my energy level
I really was tired a lot. I had to sleep at least 9 hours just to have enough energy to go through the day. It was, and I kind of always felt a little weak. I didn't feel strong like I feel now. I feel very strong and I have so much energy now. It's insane.
So I had this really raging iron deficiency. That was one other thing. And my parents would, like my mom, would take me to the doctor, and the doctor would inform her, it's like, well, she's a redhead, so, redhead needs more iron and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's really true, but that's what the doctor said. So she said, and you have to give her more meat, because she told the doctor, well, we are giving her lots of meat already. So she said, oh, just give her extra liver. So I had to eat like liver like 3 times a week and take this supplement too on top of it to just kind of get my iron somewhere in a normal level. And the other thing that was definitely also how I knew I wasn't exactly like super duper healthy was I had a cold. Like every second month of the year I would like be constantly sick, constantly runny nose, colds and flus, like runny noses and fever, and just like I was a mess. I was a mess as a child, like really. When I was really, really young, really tiny, I was like 5 years old. My parents made a dish called Schweinsbraten mit Knödel. Now, it's a famous Austrian dish. Like, if you're Austrian, you know what I'm talking about. Or even if you're German, or if they all know this dish, Schweinsbraten mit Knödel. It's a very fatty piece of pig's meat that is kind of grilled in the oven, and then you use some knödel, which is, I think it's called dumplings in English. And I tried to eat a piece, and it got stuck in my throat. And I thought I was gonna die. I was so scared. I was like trying to breathe, and I couldn't get any air, and I was like coughing, and it wouldn't move. It was just stuck there, until finally my mom was freaking out. She was getting all scared, and then my dad picked me up and held me upside down, and it fell out, and it was gone. And then after that, I was like, I'm never gonna eat this again ever. This is dangerous food. This is dangerous. It got stuck in me. It almost killed me. Forget it. I'm not going to eat pig ever again. One summer later, I was about 7. In the summer, I would usually hang out with my Czechoslovakian grandparents. My mom would take me to Czechoslovakia. It was called then still. And my grandmother had a little farm. It was not a big farm with cows and like lots of sheep or lots of big fields or anything. It was a very small little tiny farm. And the only animals they had was chickens and rabbits. And of course, me being crazy about animals, I would like catch the chickens, and I would carry them in the house and hug them and kiss them and pet them, put them upside down, and they would fall asleep on you. And the rabbits, same thing. I would go to their cages and just play with them. I would just touch them and caress them, and that's what I would do for hours, because I love rabbits. I actually had a rabbit later on as a pet, but when I was 7, I didn't have a rabbit yet. I was like crazy about them. I just couldn't keep my hands off of them, because to me, animals are like so amazing, and all I want to do is kiss them and hug them all day long. I'm serious. I'm like crazy for them. I'm basically this girl.
Come on, little squirrely. Take the nice peanut. Ooh, now I have a cute little squirrely really do pet and love and cherish and squeeze. I'll take you home and lock you in a nice little cage and never, ever let you out except to pet you and love you and hug you and squeeze you all up. Won't that be fun?
And one day, my uncle was there, And my aunt and my uncle came to visit, and I was usually outside playing with the chickens and just playing out in the yard. And my uncle went to the cages where the rabbits were, and he took 3 rabbits. So he carried 3 rabbits. He took one by one and carried them into this big shed. It was like a storage shed for really old building where I guess when the farm used to be a big farm where they had tractors and just different stuff in there, equipment. And I was wondering what's he doing with the rabbits. I'd never seen that before, that someone would take the rabbits out of the cage and bring them in this shed. And of course I wanted to follow, and I was nosy, and he said, no, you can't follow me here. You have to go play in the house real quick. Go and, you can come out later, but go in the house now, play in the house. And of course my instinct right away said, okay, something fishy is going on. Doesn't feel good to me. And I hid behind the building. I acted like I was going to the house, but then I was hiding behind the building, right? And it didn't take long, and I heard the screams. Because he was slaughtering them, and they were screaming. They were screaming so loud. It was crazy how loud they can scream. Rabbits, they barely ever make any noise, but when they're really scared and when they're really in pain, they will scream so loud, so loud. And I basically, I went into shock. It was really affecting me. And then I heard him leave the building and go inside the main house, and of course I walked into the shed, and I saw this. I saw 3 sweet little innocent rabbits, no heads, no hair, no skin, like taken off, just hanging there, blood still dripping, and it was disgusting. It was so disgusting. And then later on, obviously my parents, they were there, and my grandparents and my grandparents, and they made those rabbits a dish, and then they put the plate in front of me, and I was like, I don't want to eat this. I will never eat that. I will never eat rabbit again. Because my mom said, well, you had rabbit before. Why did you want to eat it now? That's because now I know what happens to them, And so since that age, I ate no more rabbits or pig's meat. I could never eat them again. That was it. So I was finished with that. So then I decided to come to America. Yay! And I'm happy I did. I love America. I love the American people. It's such a beautiful, beautiful continent. It's amazing. So I decided to go to America. And here I was. Came with my German Shepherd. So it was just me and my dog moving to America. And I came to Los Angeles. And I lived my life like normally, like anybody, for a while. So then one night, in the late 90s, yeah, been around for a long time, there was something, I couldn't sleep, and there was this thing on TV. I don't even know what to call it, because it has something to do with promoting anti-animal cruelty for sure. It wasn't PETA. It was not PETA. That's also how I got Anthony Robbins, or how I found out about Anthony Robbins, because his infomercial was on at that late night also. And I don't know if you remember the infomercials that he had on. They were called Personal Powers, and he was selling this sets of audio tapes. And by that time, I've seen his infomercials like months before, and I already got his audio tapes because like, hey, this is cool. I want to try it out, and I really love it. I think Anthony Robbins is amazing. So anyway, so I got his. So I already had his audio tape, but then I saw this other show. I don't know what to call it. Some kind of an anti-animal cruelty show. Okay, I don't really remember the tape because after I saw that, I was in shock. I was crying for hours. I couldn't stop crying, and I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep for 3 days. I was so traumatized. I could not sleep for 3 days. I'm serious. And I just, alone to know that there was people who could do this crazy stuff, like this one scene. They showed a monkey, they put the monkey inside the table, and they cut his skull open, and people would eat his brain, and he would be inside the table, and the table would turn, and he would be screaming so loud while they were eating his brain. I was like, I thought I was going to get a heart attack. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, I thought I was going to die. My heart was just going crazy. I couldn't understand what I was seeing. Alone, to know that there's people like that they can do this. You have a creature in front of you, and it's screaming, and it's so scared, and it's screaming, and they don't care. They don't care. And then I saw other stuff, the slaughterhouse footage. I couldn't stop crying. I thought my heart was exploding in so much pain. I couldn't do it. I couldn't finish. Actually, I had to turn off the TV before everything was shown, because I felt like throwing up. I felt like my heart, like I was getting a heart attack, because it was horrible. I mean, they also showed, how some of the guys in the slaughterhouse, how they are so unemotional with the animals, and they don't care, and they throw the chickens around and just step on them and kick them, and just, I don't understand how somebody can be like this. I don't understand it. I went to a thrift store, maybe a week later, and I found this. This is Living Health by Anthony Robbins too, and that's why I got it. So I immediately started listening to this, and as soon as I got to a certain chapter where he's talking about food specifically, yeah, I came into a shock when I found out what really is in meat and how disgusting meat really is. I mean, absolutely gross. And how anybody who knows what's really in it can continue eating it. Oh God, I mean, I can't even imagine anybody in the right mind wanting to eat it after they listen to this. And I'm going to play it. I'm going to actually upload it on the computer so you can hear exactly what I'm talking about.
It's an illusion. So don't do it for protein, because it isn't going to give it to you. And excess protein will make you sick, no question about it. Plus, I have to tell you 2 things about this. When you eat meat, you eat chicken, and you taste that taste and go, that's really great. I just want you to know what gives meat its taste. Uric acid. Now, uric acid, many of you have heard about uric acid because it's related to gout, right? And it's related, some of you have, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of you have like pain in your joints, arthritis. And you know about uric acid then, right? and you have about 16 grains of uric acid, an average serving of meat. 16 grains. The body cannot deal with it. The most it can deal with is about 6 grains in a 24-hour period of time. You got more than your body can take care of. It's tremendously poisonous to the body. It breaks the whole system down and your immune system. But just forget the scientific part. Just think about what it is. What gives meat its taste is uric acid. Uric acid is the urine acid of the animal. Yes, that's what gives meat its taste. That's a fact. When you're eating that meat and you go, just think, love this urine, because that is what's giving its taste. If you doubt it, who here is Jewish, follows the Jewish faith? Come on, there's some Jewish faith know this because in their laws it says you gotta have meat that's kosher, where they drain out all the blood to try and get the most of that urine out of the bloodstream of the animal before they eat it, and try to eat some kosher food without any spicing. It's not gonna happen. It tastes like hell. When you get that taste and you think it's so good, that juicy taste, you are literally eating the urine of that animal. You go have some soup, that old Campbell's soup, have yourself some nice vegetable soup with some meat in it. Just think, good. Campbell's, urine, good. It's urine that is giving you the taste. That is an absolute fact. That's it. So if you like meat, you're eating the urine, period. And it doesn't end there. No. When an animal's alive, just like in your body and mine, we have something called osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure is that pressure that keeps everything in the body where it belongs. When an animal dies, the osmotic pressure disappears, as you might guess. And so what happens is putrefactive germs, the minute the animal dies, the osmotic pressure is gone, that are normally in the colon, now flood all of the flesh of the animal. And what tenderizes meat is putrefactive germs. That's what tenderizes it. In other words, get to understand this. You don't go kill an animal. Most of you don't go, want to have lunch, honey? Great, let's kill this animal. Whap! And then cook them. It's too tough. You got to tenderize the animal. You got to let the animal age. You got to go through that whole process. It doesn't happen instantaneously because the tissue is too strong on the animal, right? Especially beef. So you let it wait, and what happens is these putrefactive germs now secrete through every cell of the animal, and they begin to break down the tissue so it's soft enough to be cooked and eaten. I want you to understand what this is. Putrefactive germs are colon germs. Colon germs. Anybody here is a doctor? Contradict me. It is a physiological fact. I'm making it real clear to you what you're really eating. Do you get this? If you go have food and you like the taste, you've been trained to like that taste is the urine. If you're able to chew it, it's been tenderized by the colon germs. That's what you're putting in your body. Plus, it's fatty on top of it, which is going to clog yourself just like that. Plus, you're taking in the terror of an animal that was killed.
It made me, basically in an instant, I became vegetarian from that point on. I was like, I'm vegetarian from now on. But then, after that, the next thing that happened was Michael Greger, Dr. Michael Greger. So the first time I saw Dr. Michael Greger, it was around 1996, and I used to watch Oprah all the time. And one of her episodes, she had him on, and he was talking about mad cow disease. And, how to downplay it and all that stuff. And she ended up getting sued. Oprah got sued, and then Michael Greger had to make statements to, help her. And, of course, she won the case, but it was kind of sad that she actually even got sued in the first place. That was ridiculous. But anyway, that happened around 1996, and then a few years later, I went to the library, and I found a book. And it was a book by Dr. Michael Greger. And I was like, oh, Dr. Michael Greger has a book. And I read it, and I didn't even read the whole book. I was like halfway in, and I was like convinced already. He sold me by then. I was like, that's it. I'm going vegan. I was finished, because all the information that he had in there. And he's very convincing. I have a good feeling about him, I can tell when people are very honest and really good people and trying to help people, and he's one of those people. It's undeniable. He's one of the good guys. It's obvious. And I'm not a naive person. I don't just read a book and believe everything that's in it. No, I'm not that kind of person. But I like to use logic and instinct at the same time, before I decide to do something, anything. And, but, he did it. He convinced me. And I was like, I went vegan. After that book, I didn't even finish it, and I went vegan. And then later on, I found something else, also at the library. And I'm pretty sure it was a VHS tape. It was old. And it was with Dr. Michael Greger, standing in the kitchen next to a blender, and he had the outfit of a cook on, and he was talking about the colon and how to prevent cancer if you just get rid of all the animal products and just focus on only plant food. And then that kind of reinforced my veganism even more. And I was like, oh God, this is so good, and then that was pretty much it. And I was vegan from that day on, Basically, that was it. Dr. Greger gave me the last push to go into the veganism, vegan direction, to just drop everything, all the cheese that I was addicted to, the ice cream, and, eggs was not that important to me anyway. But yeah, I was convinced, and that was it. And, I love Dr. Greger. He's I consider him like a hero. He's just such a beautiful person.
So now I basically have been vegan since over 17 years. And actually this July 23rd, 2019, it will be 18 years. So this is my anniversary on July 23rd. And I wanted to mention I do not have any iron deficiency any longer. All that is any kind of health issues that I had before, they're all resolved. I don't have a single health problem. I mean, zero. I don't even have inflammation anywhere in my body. I don't even get a cold or a flu. I mean, hardly ever. The last time I had a cold or a flu, that was 7 years ago. It's crazy. Everybody else around me gets sick every year, and I don't. And one last thing I wanted to say, in case you are not vegan yourself and you would like to know more about it, feel free to ask me any questions about it. And if you need any help about veganism, I'm here for you. You can let me know.